Did you hear me, Mr. Stanley?
Yes, I heard you. Of course, I'd make a good president. Undoubtedly. And if I don't make a good president, at least I'm better than this guy.
I will work for you people. I will do everything I can. I'll work out, I'll get bods, I'll get gains. And I'll listen carefully to every one of you all about your problems, whatever you want to talk about, I guess. But I'm here for you. For you.
Very touching, Mr. Kaiser. Mr. Stanley?
Oh, wonderful question, Mr. Mediator. To make sure every single student of Northampton High School is content with my presidency, I will tentatively listen to every single desire, dream, demand, and need of every single student, no matter how big or how small.
What about your scandal in sophomore year?
Jarvis, next slide. My presentation will be on why you should vape. That was a mistake. It was a different time in my life. I was dumb. I was young. And I'm smarter now. I'm a different man.
Don't listen to this man. He pitches these false ideas of good. I don't know. Whatever. He's pushing cancer in his body and he wants cancer in yours. Don't listen to him.
So you're trusting what those mainstream scientists are saying? Yeah, where's their funding coming from? Huh? You think big science cares about you?
Mr. Stanley, please make sure to stay on topic.
Mr. Stanley, make sure you stay on topic.
Can we please get back on track about the lunches? Like, dude, they don't even put out the sriracha every day. That stuff sucks. Like, come on. And the budget or whatever. I mean, like, there's some teachers I want fired. But we gotta protect the jobs of our teachers for our education and whatever.
Do we need to do that? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Is that what you want over there? I think I know what Northampton High School really wants, which is why my first week in office, I'm going to be personally ensuring that the transcript is released every Wednesday and Friday, every week, including the summer.
Okay, time to wrap up. I'm glad we covered some of the topics. Final remarks?
Vote for Pete.
We love you, Pete! Have my babies!
I love you too, girl. I got you.
And one more thing. As an American and as a hero, as the president, effective in the beginning of October, I'm going to be bulldozing every single low-income housing unit in the continental United States of America, and it's going to be replaced with my financial district. And if you don't like that, it's 2024. Last time I heard, we're canceling people nowadays. And if you want to cancel me over a stupid opinion, go ahead. Go ahead and cancel me. Huh? Cancel me. This is a dark day in our nation's history. You just watched your president get chased out of the debate for having a stupid opinion. You all need to fight. Fight for me. Donate. Donate to me. They're here.
So does mean I win?
I guess so.
Cool.
Hello and welcome to the Transcript. I'm Ivy.
And I'm Anya.
This week we look into harm reduction in the community,
Talk to the Model UN Club.
and investigate the MCAS graduation requirement.
Hamped Up checks out field hockey.
And the news segment, Talk on the Block, interviews strangers in downtown Northampton.
On Thursday, the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported over 100 deaths from Mpox in the previous week. Dr. Jean Kaseya, director of the organization, stated that the deaths were not acceptable. Countries in Africa, including Congo, are currently in the process of obtaining vaccines. Also on Thursday, 2 brothers were arrested on charges of assaulting a photographer for the New York Times during the January 6th riot. Philip Walker, one of the brothers, claimed that they believed the photographer was a member of Antifa. In local news, on Tuesday, Northampton residents gathered at Cooley Dickinson Hospital to celebrate the over $11 million raised for the expansion of their emergency room. When completed, this expansion will increase the capacity of the hospital's emergency room by 40%, as well as expand accommodations for those with mental health issues.
Today, we're shining a spotlight on a critical yet often overlooked approach to public health harm reduction. This strategy focuses on minimizing the negative consequences of substance use rather than solely aiming for abstinence. In this segment, we'll explore how harm reduction initiatives are transforming lives across our region, delve into the impact these programs are having, and hear from those directly involved in these efforts.
So HRH 413 was started in Western Mass when I originally came back from Boston and had returned to Northampton after living here in the 90s. I noticed there was a huge disparity of service provision for people who use drugs and trade sex. I wanted to bring harm reduction services to the individuals who needed it the most marginalized and vulnerable, because that's what saved my life here in this town at that time, was having those services available.
People can use resources like HRH. Tapestry in the community is very good for harm reduction. There's locations everywhere in Massachusetts and most cities. Most schools have their own resources as well, but if you're somebody who doesn't know how to tap into that information, it's easy to just go to where you might get tested for sexually transmitted infections or diseases, and usually they have the resources to support that.
There's multiple strategies that we use to go about harm reduction, but the first one is just educating people on what it is. It's kind of a new concept to a lot of people. Jess, who I work under the wing of, was a founder of giving definition and meaning to exactly what harm reduction is, and I think that one of the strategies is to educate people in the first place and just have an understanding of what that means and then go about the rest of it.
We do recognize that not all drug use is safe, not all drug use is conducive. Drug use can absolutely devastate families, it can destroy lives, it can, we see it now, like the fact that we have lost more people to overdose than the height of the AIDS epidemic, that we've lost more people at the height of the war in Vietnam. It's something that we have to look at as a country, that we have to start doing or start implementing other tools like safe consumption sites. Drug checking is a huge thing that HRH 413, we're working with Brandeis University, so we can do real-time drug checking. So we're using FTIRs, which are mass spectrometers, and we have that ability, like that's legal. You can bring a pill to us and we will test it and we can tell you, as just happened last week, and like this pill does have fentanyl in it. We have people, another common drug that we see in like the younger age group is buying Xanax, buying benzodiazepines and Adderall. Like a lot of the Adderall we're seeing now has fentanyl. So the fact that people can come to HRH 413 and get fentanyl test strips, and we have xylazine test strips, which is an animal tranquilizer we're seeing in drug supply now. When we talk about drugs in our community with honesty and, recognizing that not all drugs have the same effect. When I was growing up, it was like every drug was bad. You were going to die if you smoked marijuana. Well, we know that's not true. And we know that most people's, their gateway drug is usually trauma. It's not going to be marijuana. It's not going to be alcohol. Giving people like evidence-based facts, not using scare tactics.
Find out more about HRH 413 on their website, hrh413.org. Thanks to everyone who participated in the creation of this segment, and thanks for watching.
In the past, a lack of resources and the number of group members has prevented the Model UN from attending events and participating in activities. However, this year, the Model UN Club has seen a significant increase in membership and funding. The Model UN is a club in which members take on the role of actual countries in simulated diplomatic conferences to improve skills such as negotiation. And in recent meets, the club has received numerous awards and prestige for their performance. We went to their first club meeting to see how they plan to use their extra resources and how they plan to put their new members to work.
One of the primary goals of the Model UN is to get our students to be able to go to various locations and demonstrate their skills. And if we don't have funding, we can't afford busing, and if we can't afford busing, we can't get our students there. club was defunct for a few years and it started up again 3 years ago, and since then it's grown exponentially in enrollment, and we've had greater and greater success in getting donations from outside sources as well, which has allowed us to do more significant and meaningful trips.
So with awards, we've gone to multiple conferences, first of all. One of the main ones being MIT Model UN, which is this huge conference. People from all over the country, even like from other countries like China and all over the world come to this conference, and it's really exciting. And last year, for example, we were able to get awards from that.
These really notable schools like Yale and Harvard and MIT, all their conferences are about $100 per delegate, and there's also a fee for the group. So a challenge that we have this year is kind of allocating how much money we should spend with the delegation part and how much money we can spend on other resources like food and transportation.
We've seen an increase in how much money we have just in our savings and also how many members we have. And that's been a really positive thing because it means that going forward we'll be able to have more people that are well trained to be able to go to these conferences.
Well, in the past, conferences are a big issue for us as a club.
A lack of resources has been a disadvantage to the club in the past just because Model UN is expensive. Going to conferences is expensive, and that comes with the fact that it's a very prestigious, very enjoyable thing to do, and it's a unique opportunity that a lot of people don't have.
You know, the atmosphere there is very great. It's just generally kind of everyone seems like they're really invested in it. And they had donuts there, which always makes things a little better. What has my experience been so far? It's been good. I hope to go to a good amount of conferences. Since it's my first year, I don't know if I'll end up going to the MIT conference, but that would be a highlight if I were able to go.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to join the Model UN, they meet after school on Mondays in room 115. The Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System, commonly known as MCAS, is the state's standardized testing program. According to mass.gov, the MCAS helps teachers, parents, and students know where students are excelling and where they need help. The first exams were administered in 1998, and they became a high school graduation requirement in 2003. Initially introduced as a tool to identify students who might need extra support, MCAS has since evolved into a key component of Massachusetts' educational system. However, the assessment has faced significant criticism from various organizations and community members. The Massachusetts Association argues that the MCAS reduces time to teach, narrows the curriculum, adds stress, reduces creativity, and misuses education dollars. This criticism has led the MTA, along with other groups, to advocate for the removal of MCAS as a graduation requirement, and their efforts have placed this issue on the upcoming election ballot. In today's report, we speak with parents, teachers, and students to gather their thoughts on the MCAS and the implications of Question 2, the ballot measure that could determine the future of this testing requirement.
I don't think the MCAS is beneficial to students' learning. When a student does poorly, we don't really know anything about how they are at math. What we know is how good they are at testing. We can't understand anything about their learning from the results of the test.
It was never something that I was stressed about necessarily, but it definitely felt like we could better gauge our students' competence on proficiency than taking that test.
From my perspective, the function of MCAS in Massachusetts is as a safeguard for parents to know where their kids are in relation to their peers at the same grade level.
It means that we're teaching topics that are not as relevant to students' lives. The MCAS focuses too much on certain topics, and we are forced to teach those topics because of the MCAS. Also, the administration of the MCAS takes a large chunk of time out of our spring semester that we would really like to use to teach more.
My son learns differently. He has dyslexia and ADHD. When we would ask pointed questions about really we're trying to get a sense of where he is, we had no objective data. We got his third grade MCAS scores and he fell in the low needs improvement. And I was able to say, this is where we are. But it's the first time that we were able to see that. We need the test for kids like him, because otherwise we run out of time to get them the support that they need while they're still in high school.
We have graduation requirements. We have requirements for what classes students need to do in order to graduate. You know, you're required to take 4 English classes, all of these sorts of things. We have all of those requirements. And other states, most of the other states in the country, use those requirements as the requirements for graduation from high school. Those are dictated to some degree by the state, so there is consistency about what those requirements are.
I'm going to be voting for MCAS to not be a graduation requirement. It has a place as a marker for, how your school district is doing and how we're teaching, but at the same time, I think it doesn't do any good to make it a graduation requirement. It's just holding people back from high school diplomas.
Having MCAS be a graduation requirement is a motivator for my son. If it were the case that it had no consequences for him in life, he would not prepare for it. He would not care whether he did his best or not. And it would not be a useful tool for us to know where is he on this.
Question 2 will be voted on November 5th. If you are over 18, register to vote at mass.gov. Thank you for watching and see you next week.
Y'all ready for this?
In 1901, field hockey was introduced to the American sporting world by an Englishwoman, Constance Appleby. Women's colleges adopted it as a female-only sport from the early 1900s onward. At NHS, this sport is offered for girls in the fall. Today we look into the history of this female-dominated sport and talk to team members about the upcoming season.
Field hockey being a predominantly female-dominated sport affects the culture greatly. I think women tend to have different connections with the people on their team. I think it's more of a family sport, and you become family with your team.
We've been really cohesive as a team, not just on the field, but I feel like I'm friends with a lot of people who I wasn't before, and we can talk about just our lives and have fun after games, and I think that's a big part of what makes school sports enjoyable.
We have a lot of newer players, which is really exciting to try and work with them and just build a stronger team together that we haven't really played together. I'm excited for the coming season.
What did the field hockey players say when they score? That's how I roll.
If you are interested in joining field hockey next fall, contact Misha Begin or David Prue.
Welcome back. This week, there's no back, because this is a new segment, Talk on the Block, where we're interviewing people obnoxious, random questions and seeing what their answers are. Excuse me? What celebrity would you like to have Thanksgiving with? Thank you very much. Hi, excuse me, will you be celebrating Daylight Savings Day this year?
Will I be celebrating it?
Yes. Do you prefer Smashing Pumpkins or Talking Heads?
Talking Heads.
Okay, why?
David Byrne.
Yes, thank you. Ow, ow, ow! I'm thinking for autumn, Lime Red should open on Monday. Just a personal preference. Hello? Excuse me. Okay. Do you prefer going to a pumpkin patch or an apple orchard? Say it louder. Thank you. Do you like eating apple pie or pumpkin pie?
I like both pies.
What do you prefer?
Oh, I have to make a choice.
Yes, right now. 3 seconds. 3.
Oh, Lord.
2.
Pumpkin pie.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, will you two be celebrating Daylight Savings this year?
That's not something I typically celebrate in that sense. Something I feel like we have to be aware of, though.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't aware of the kegger I was playing?
Excuse me, sir, what's your favorite fall recipe to cook or bake?
Fall recipe.
Yes.
Let me see. Pumpkin pie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Let me see. Ham.
Classic.
Biscuit.
All right. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed. Have a great one. Mwah.
Thanks for watching. If you're interested in joining the Theater Tech Club, come to the Black Box on Thursdays during Flex or Friday after school in the auditorium. See you next week.